shine on the light. We all over the world, chat night Africa. We all over the world, chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. Welcome to chat night, we bring you good vibe, we shine on the light. We all over the world, chat night Africa. We all over the world, chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night, the only place that we give you good vibe. Chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night, all over the world we are shining the light. Chat night Africa. Welcome to chat night.
Hello. Welcome to our first broadcast for the year 2025, Next Generation Today. My name is Divine Chamakong, and I'm anchoring this broadcast from Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Our guest today is a 16 years old. Daniel Afumbam has the oratory of Shakespeare's Mark Antony and the witness of the proverbial fox. Here is why I extended an invitation to Daniel. Do you remember the New Year resolutions you made? What drives people to draw up resolutions on the eve of the new year? Why do they fall apart and soon? Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel's perspectives to these questions and more are about to get you sitting on your seat's edge. Please join me now in welcoming the young 16-year-old girl, Daniel Afumbam Munang, on the platform. Daniel, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mr. Chamakong. It's always a pleasure to be back on Chat Night Africa.
It's my pleasure to receive this fiercely articulate young lady each time on the platform Chat Night Africa. And the broadcast today is Next Generation Today. Daniel, let's jump into it. People draw up New Year resolutions on the eve of each new year, so to speak. Now tell me, is drawing up a list of resolutions time wasted or time well spent? Please explain your reasons.
Well, thank you for the question. And I think it's especially important to put this into perspective. So we see among humans, we have the first dimension, which is called 3D, which is what we see physically. And that is what's in front of us right now. And then we have the fourth dimension, which is 4D, which is built up of our past experiences, our internal beliefs, and the core values that we have. And then we have the fifth dimension, which is where we can realize our dreams and manifest it to turn our passions into reality. And what a lot of people fail to realize is that in order for your resolution to be time well spent, you have to move from your core belief of 4D to 5D. So let's just have an example. Let's say that this year you want to, quote unquote, make money. You need to get rid of that core belief that states that, oh, because I'm poor, I can only ask for money from XYZ. Instead, you should envision yourself being successful through your methods of passion and then manifest it by not only thinking, I will, but already thinking you have done it. And by that, the New Year resolutions will be time well spent, but it becomes time wasted if you only think about, oh, I cannot. But once we switch and reboot our mindset, like a system reset, then we will be able to, instead of it being time lost, it can be time gained for us to start on a new slate and to excel.
Munang, for this powerful, very powerful start. But why do you think mindset reset isn't something a lot of people are wildly excited about?
Well, that's a very interesting question because resistance is very natural, but just because it's natural doesn't mean it should be something we cling on to. We need to have a factory reboot, like I said, to move from the fourth dimension to the fifth dimension. For example, let's use the example of public speaking. because somebody may be hesitant to talk in front of a crowd, they may feel, oh, I cannot public speak. Why should I change my mind? Because I know I'm not going to be good at it. But that is a core belief entrenched in them that they cannot succeed, when in reality, it's their mind taking control of their actions. And our mind must take control of our action, but not from a way of pessimism or a way of I can't do it, but rather a way of I can do it. And this hinders some people because it's a lot of work. It's not easy. But what we have to realize is that our dreams, we can pursue them. And by us being able to pursue them, we must start now, and we must start by factory rebooting our mindsets to realize that we can go to the fifth dimension, and we can think innovatively, and we can become and realize the future we want to see.
Danielle, while some people might align with your thought process, they may not know where to start. So, my question to you is, where does this mindset reconstruction start?
Well, it starts with awareness. Awareness is the key step in order to reboot your mindset, because we need to realize our strengths and our weaknesses. And from there, we can be able to build on our strengths while mitigating our weaknesses to become better than we were before. So let's put this into perspective. If you have a seed and the soil is not fertilized, then it will not grow. So we need to start by fertilizing our minds to become the best version of ourselves and to have a healthy and positive mindset so that when we are facing challenges, we can be able to excel. So, in order for us to move into the fifth dimension, we need to be aware of what we are lacking and strive to have smart, measurable, achievable, results based, and timely goals, which are known as SMART goals, so that we can be able to achieve what we want, not only for this new year, but for the rest of our lives.
In case you are just joining us, you are watching Next Generation today on Chat Night Africa. And my guest is Danielle Afumba Munang. She is connecting from Canada. Danielle, you seem to believe that not much or anything can be accomplished if it did not begin with mindset change. What makes you think you are right?
Thank you. So it all comes down to our core beliefs. If you believe deep down that you can do it and you put in the work, because faith isn't just a word, it's a verb. Once you put that into action, you can be able to achieve what you'd like. However, I disagree with the point that, oh, just by believing it, you can do it, because your core belief says that, oh, I want to be a millionaire. We need to break it down into smaller chunks. We need to break it down into what are our hobbies, what are our passions, and how we can shift away from the thinking of someone has to help me to, oh, I have this within myself to excel. And each of us has the drive and the passion to excel. It comes down to us to achieve it. And by us listening to things like this and being aware, we can be able to mindset reboot by just writing it down in a notebook and never looking at it and never taking proactive steps to achieve it. Then mindset change cannot happen. And if mindset change cannot happen, achieving your goals in a smart manner, which is successful, measurable, achievable, and timely, and we cannot do that if we do not reboot our mindset.
Oh, Daniel Munang, somebody says, awesome, Afu, so proud of you. Now, I believe, I'm imagining that people draw up these resolutions on the eve of every year, new year, because they want to do some self-improvement and so on. So what could make some people resistant to these eye-openers you outlined here?
The main reason why people fail to grow and to metamorphosize into being changed, especially through mindset, is because it is a lot of work. It's like a muscle, for example. If you don't work it out consistently, you won't be able to excel. That's why we see athletes going to the gym 24/7. But that's also the same within our mind. If we don't try to free ourselves from the core belief that have held us back for years and years, that, oh, we can't do this. Oh, in terms of poverty, I need to get somebody who's well off to help me. Oh, for me to start a business, I need to receive handouts. For me to excel in school, I can't do it. Oh, for me to public speak, I can't do it. Releasing ourselves from the shackles of this core belief, which are shaped in the subconscious. We don't even know this is happening. But once we are aware, we can then move away from that resistance by consistently practicing. In the while, we can't just expect to go from the core belief to being all of a sudden a master realizer. It is small breakable steps, and a lot of people just think of the big goal, but we need to break it down into more reasonable and achievable goals so that you don't get discouraged. And the great thing about January is that it's a clean slate for all of us. So as we move into the new year, we need to let go of our old habits and proactively start to engage ourselves and to engage others to make sure that we're thriving together in 2025.
People typically accumulate negativity over time. Where are these gardens of negativity? Is it the family, the friendship that people have, or how are these habits, negative habits, developed?
Yeah, so like I said previously, our core beliefs are what shape our outlook on life. And it can be the subconscious, but it can also be our external influences like our peers, our family members, our friends, our classmates. And that's especially important to realize because at the end of the day, you can have these influences, but it comes down to you. It comes down to you as an individual to really thrive and to make this year and to make life your own. And a lot of these negative opinions, they don't come from a place of malintent sometimes. They come from just the belief that people have been entrenched and held onto for generations and generations. But what we need to do is instead of focusing on those beliefs, we should have a collective mindset change so that not only I'm becoming empowered, not only you're becoming empowered, but we are all becoming empowered to be able to realize our dreams and to already think that we have so that when we're doing it, it's all part of the process.
Children of Africa, tell me, are you ready?
Children of Africa, children of Asia, children of the United States, are you ready? Danielle seems to be very ready, and she's not taking the conventional path. Um, Danielle, you go to school, you have friends. How do you get to break away from negativity, from friends who are negative, friends who are likely to draw you back without worrying about losing their friendship?
Well, like I said previously, it's just about going into the fifth dimension or 5D. Once you manifest and once you realize and have faith that you can achieve a certain thing, whether it's academically, athletically, spiritually, professionally, then nothing can stop you because you already feel as if you are in that position. And by feeling like you're in that position, you will take the small proactive steps to achieve it. So whether that means instead of going out for lunch, you are staying in and studying, whether that means that instead of going out to eat, you are eating healthy food. All these proactive steps help to develop you spiritually, professionally, academically. And for those people who are around you, specifically in my case, you have to select them in a way that when you have your moments, when you have the time where you have to really quote unquote lock in, they are there and they are ready to support and they understand. So just building a network of understanding people and also having the ability and power to say no, because no isn't a scary word. No is something that we can all say, but less people tend to use that trap because they're afraid of, oh, what will people say? But we need to realize instead of thinking, what will people say, think about what can I do? And if you're saying no to going to a party and your friends are not inclined to hang out with you again, that shows that their character doesn't align with yours. So by knowing yourself and knowing your strengths and weaknesses and knowing how to achieve the goal that you've set in the fifth dimension, then friends or no friends, you'll be able to thrive and you'll be able to set boundaries.
Daniel Afumom Munang. The other question I just received by text is has to do with friends and associations and so on. We'll get to that. Time for us to. What are the challenges you've had to have in the process of reshaping? Because it seems to me this is not the way you were born. How have you come to reshape? What is the process? Take me step by step. Reshape the way you look at life to be able to reconstruct your mindset to achieve the things you achieve.
Yeah, so that's actually a really interesting point because I think everyone is still working each and every single day to improve their awareness and to improve their quote unquote system reboot. So for me personally, it was with Innovative Volunteerism, which is an initiative that I follow to promote change sustainably through reusable tote bags, and through empowering other people to leverage their passions to promote sustainable entrepreneurship and community development. So initially, I was afraid, like, how am I going to be able to learn how to sew? How am I going to be able to public speak? How am I going to be able to run workshops? Oh, I can't do it. I'm only at that time, I was only 14. I'm a young teenager. How am I going to be able to stand out? Those were all the questions that were lurking in my brain. However, as time went on and through guidance from my parents and seeing things in media of people making an impact, it enabled me to realize that I can do it. And by letting that little voice linger in your brain, you are not reaching your full potential. So by ignoring that voice that constantly says, I can't do it, which are your core beliefs, I was able to move and reboot my mindset to one of I can't, or why me, instead of what can I do about it. And I face setbacks, and everybody will face setbacks in their journey to mindset reboot. But instead of thinking, oh, why did this happen to me? Like, I'm so cursed. Phrases like this, we need to think, okay, yeah, this is unfortunate that this happened to me, but what can I do now? How can I move forward? And by having that mindset and having that resilience, determination, and the drive to succeed and the drive to change and have an impact and to have a long-term goal breaking down into smaller parts, you will be able to reboot. And that's how I've been able, and I'm still continuing to reboot my mindset each and every day.
George Nibas says, incredible presentation, Daniel Fumbo Munang. Thank you. Happy New Year. And cheers to your cherished success.
Thank you.
If you organize a show and you have shows on the mindset space, and you announce a lot of gift freebies, you're going to have thousands and thousands of people surrounding you, waiting for theirs. How do you get to making mindset reconstruction attractive so that people can come as many as they would if you were distributing free things or free gift cards and so on the internet?
That is true. If we started distributing gift cards on the Mindset Spa, I'm telling you, it would be the most watched podcast. But to answer your question, I think it just comes down to results, being results driven. And we see these results across the continent, especially through the concept of innovative volunteerism. We are seeing Everpreneur solutions. We are seeing a plethora of institutions and individuals who had this drive and who went through mindset reboots and who are now achieving grants and winning big things. And it all comes down to you, because if you follow the steps towards mindset reboot and move from the fourth dimension to the fifth, you will start to see the results within yourself. You'll start to see that you're achieving more. You will start to feel more fulfilled, and you will feel more tranquil and at peace because you are visualizing and you are working towards the goals that have been placed and have been ingrained within your mindset. So what we do as a mindset spa and through being innovative volunteerism actors, we start by ourselves, leading by example. If I am showing somebody that I'm doing X, Y, Z, and I'm succeeding, and I'm very resilient and very hardworking, they'll be like, oh, wow, she's achieving all these things. How can I do it too? And it's not necessarily by following the same steps as me. It's realizing what works for you and what can enable you from going from the fourth dimension to the fifth. And through that, people stay hooked, because if something is happening to you that's positive and you just keep on putting the work, it'll grow exponentially. And then it gets passed down. So what we do, to answer your question, is results driven. And we see this across the continent and across the world.
All habits, it's said, die hard. And sometimes some people don't want to leave their comfort zones. Daniel, speak to me. What are you going to do to make people begin to see the need to leave their comfort zones and embrace the change? And the change in this case, mindset reset or mindset reconstruction.
Yeah, so I think it's very important that we realize that if we stay confined within our comfort zones, we will not be able to break free and to grow as an individual and then as a society. So it's okay, and it's even great sometimes to feel uncomfortable, because in those moments we develop resilience, we develop determination, we develop hope that the future we can be able to rise and to improve in whatever aspect we're looking at. So a lot of people need to realize that this is the case, and moving out of your comfort zone, will it be hard? Yes. Will it be challenging? Yes. Will you like it? Probably not. But will you like the results? I am almost 100% positive that you will like the results. And by being results oriented and by having that determination and by moving, I say this a lot, but it's very necessary, moving away from your core beliefs and moving towards your goals and aspirations proactively, then you too can be able to break from your comfort zone.
Daniel Afumba Munang, and if you have a question and you would like to ask Daniel, you can dial the number 240-603-7367, 240-603-7367, and Daniel will answer, take your question live. Daniel, it's usually said that the first school any child or any human being begins to attend is the family. In what ways could the family contribute negatively or positively towards the mindset reset, mindset change of the children growing up within the family?
That's a really important question because I think that within family itself, it's the building block of society. And I'm very grateful to have supportive parents who have encouraged me to take on Mindset Reboot and have encouraged me to be the best version of myself and to not shy away from doing difficult things. But if your family isn't as supportive, we have to realize that at the end of the day, it comes within you because you can have all the encouragement from all different sides of the world. But if you don't choose to realize your truth and if you don't choose to enter the fifth dimension, then you won't flourish as much as you could have. So to people watching who have positive family members, that's amazing. But to people who don't, you have to realize that not everybody, you can't pick what family you're born into, but you can pick the results and the way that your life ends up. And by rebooting your mind, by having a factory system reset, you can be able to realize that it's at the end of the day, it's all you. The work that you're putting in will benefit you. The studying that you're putting in will benefit you. The hours you're spending at the gym to develop your health will benefit you. So Walt Disney says all our dreams can come true if we have the drive to achieve them. So whatever dream you have, whether professional, spiritual, athletic, you can achieve these dreams with your family being there. That is a plus because you have a very amazing support network. But if unfortunately that's not the case, remember that drive comes from within. And by freeing from the shackles of I can't or why me, oh, why I come from a bad family, then you too can be able to succeed and to excel.
I'm going to have a musical interlude for about 2 minutes. And then when I bring you back, I'm going to take the example of weight loss. People usually at the end of the year, the breaking to another year, usually take the resolution that they want to lose weight. Some say they want to, some say they want to stop smoking. Some say they want to do this, go to the gym every day. So how would a mindset reset help them? Because oftentimes they make those resolutions and probably they go to the gym once or twice within January, and then everything grinds to a halt. And then they wait for December 31st, and you find them making the same resolutions. So I'm going to come back after this musical interlude, Daniel, and have you respond to those people. You are watching Next Generation today on Chat Night Africa. My name is Divine Jamukong. My guest today is the amazing 16-year-old girl, Daniel Afumbom Munang, and she will be right back. We have this amazing song and by the Grassfield Music in Bamenda, Cameroon. Enjoy it. I will be right back.
Hold my hands, never let me down. Hold my hands, you gotta hold my hand, yeah. Take my hands, let me see your face. Give me strength to push on through. Let me live for you. Let me live for you. Hold my hands, never let me down. Hold my hands, you gotta hold my hand, yeah. Take my hands, let me see your face. Give
Okay,
me
we're having trouble running that video. We are going to stop that video. We have trouble running that video by the Grassfield Music. You are watching Next Generation today, anchored from Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. You can also watch this broadcast in high definition on our website, broadcast website, www.chatnightafrica.net. If you know any amazing teenager, as amazing as Danielle, who is on the show tonight, anywhere on the planet, regardless of nationality, please, by all means, let us know. This is a program for young adults. This is a program for gifted teens. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, join me in welcoming Daniel Afumbong Munang on the platform. Daniel, I am sure you must have heard people draw resolutions at the start of every year. What are some of the resolutions you hear?
Yeah, so like you said previously before our break, I think the resolution that we see, for me personally, it's just excelling in all aspects, academically, spiritual, all of that. But I really want to touch on what you said before the break, is that a lot of people, these resolutions tend to fail because they're not realistic. And that's something that we need to look at because, yes, stopping smoking, you can't just go cold turkey unless you do. You can't just stop abruptly, or the gym. You can't think that, oh, I'm going to go from, let's just use an example, go from this weight to that weight. I'm going to lose 20 kilos in the span of 2 months. Let's break them down into attainable steps. And the resolution they have are generally quite vague. And that is something that limits and hinders people's success in achieving them. And then at the end of the year, they feel unfulfilled. But once we break those goals down into smaller, more manageable, bite-sized achievements, then you can be able to celebrate the small wins while feeling encouraged to improve and go into the big wins. So let's use the example of a marathon. If you've never ran a day in your life, how are you going to run a marathon? It simply is not feasible. So we need to break it down. Oh, I'm going to start running 1 kilometer a day. You run that for a month. You're going to move on to 3 kilometers and then 5 kilometers and then 10, and then exponentially it gets higher. And then when you're running the marathon, you have no problem. But if you go from never running a day in your life to running so many kilometers, you will feel burnt out. And that example isn't just one relating to running, but related to every aspect of life. If you go from 0 to 100 without building and working your way up, you will feel exhausted. And that's why people, especially in January, go to the gym for 1-2 days, do the hardest workout of their life, and then call it quits for the rest of the year. So what we need to do to shift from that is to break it down into manageable steps, because from there we can achieve those steps and feel motivated to move on and to achieve bigger and better things and to achieve our long-term goals as well.
I've seen friends of mine who resolved that they will eat healthy, and very soon they find themselves loading their refrigerators with everything that's unhealthy. And that's why I ask you the question, how do you abandon that sweet soda to start drinking some green juice that's probably not so tasty in the mouth? So people make resolutions that sometimes are unrealistic. And could it be, Daniel, and this is the question to you, could it be that they are trying to dream big? Okay, if somebody says, I'm going to start running, maybe half a mile in the morning, it could be that, or they feel that they are dreaming small, they're dreaming big. Could that be the problem?
Well, it's obviously very important to dream big. I think everybody should dream big. It's encouraged so that when you're in the 5th dimension, you see yourself already realizing that. And let's just use the example of running. You see yourself running and doing well in a marathon. However, we cannot start like that. We need to start from the baby steps, because starting from 1 mile, it comes within yourself. It's the core belief of, oh, I have to go big or go home initially. We need to start by breaking it down. And by breaking this down, we can be able to feel content and feel encouraged, because let's say you want to run a marathon and you only do 1 mile, and what you achieve that 1 mile, you'll feel more motivated to continue rather than you do the entire course and you don't succeed. So by having small wins, it fuels you and makes you passionate and motivated to keep on going. So I think it is an issue, like you said, of people not wanting to dream small, but it's important to rather dream big or break it down into smaller steps.
You are watching Next Generation today, and Daniel Afumbo Munang is my guest today. Daniel, I have to say that I'm simply amazed by how brilliant, how articulate you are. Probably at the end of the show, towards the end, at some point, I'm going to bring in your dad, Dr. Richard Munang, to just tell me, how do you get to raising such a trooper in mindset reconstruction? So, Dr. Richard Munang, please get prepared. I will at some point bring you, maybe after an interlude of music or something like that. Daniel, if people wrote down their resolutions or their goals, the goals they want to realize, accomplish, do you think that could hold them responsible or accountable or get motivated?
Definitely. I think accountability, even having an accountability coach, having people who are around you to keep you accountable, especially can be your family, your friends, and also writing things down makes it more visible, or having things like a vision board. But all these things need to come from within. If you write down this and you have a vision board, but you don't look at it, you don't feel intrinsically motivated, and you don't pursue it and you're not proactive, it's not going to work. So you can write it down. And I think these are especially important to make sure that you're on the right track to success, even having mobile reminders or mobile calendars. These things all go hand in hand. But at the end of the day, the focal point of mindset development and the focal point of achieving not only your New Year resolution, but your new life resolutions come from moving to the fifth dimension. Because once we are there, then all these attributes come hand in hand. Because if you have already realized that you are achieving a goal, then you'll feel motivated to write it down. You'll feel motivated to create a vision board. You'll feel motivated to have an accountability coach or to have a partner who can help you out. All these things come hand in hand, but without these things, you can still do well. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you. And I think to answer your question, definitely all these things help. But if you yourself are not motivated, you can have a million notebooks and it still won't work.
If you have any questions for Danielle, you can dial the number 240. Questions or contribution. You don't have to be asking a question. If you feel that there's something you can contribute towards the success for people, the success of people, doing what they want to do, planning to do what they want to do, and then accomplishing it. A lot of you have my number, but otherwise, if you're outside of the United States, you can do a WhatsApp call 200-12406037367. If you are in the United States or Canada, I believe, you can do 240-603-7367. It doesn't have to be a question for Danielle. You can also contribute to the program. And towards the end of the program, we will have maybe 7 minutes of conversation with Daniel's dad, Dr. Richard Munang. Because when people look at you, they're like, wow. I mean, you see all the comments that are coming in. People are like, wow, wow, wow. Well, here's the proverb. In Africa, when you go to the farm and pick pear, what we call avocado, you can't go eating the pear without looking at the tree from which it fell. So that's why at some point we may bring Dr. Richard Munang to take one or two questions here. Danielle, what are some of the examples of your accomplishments that have come about as a result of you looking at life unconventionally? In other words, reconstructing your mindset.
Well, thank you for the question. I think that all of my accomplishments are thanks to the power of mindset change and through the power of innovative volunteerism. So I lead workshops in my local community, teaching youth about sustainability, innovation, entrepreneurship, and just life skills in terms of STEM and engineering and other sorts of things that they can use in the classroom and beyond. And that is something that I'm very proud of. But also my work has been recognized by the Women's Canadian Club. I have won the Emerging Leaders Award, which have come from my community involvement, extracurricular, academic achievement. And without Mindset Reboot, I would have not been able to manage my time to juggle both academics and extracurriculars, initiative, the mindset spot, all those things. So through my academic and community engagement awards, it all comes down to my core beliefs. Because if I had a core belief that, oh, I can't manage all these things, I need to pick one, then there would be nothing special. But by having that belief of, oh, I can do both and I can excel at both and put passion into both, then I was able to use these skills, moving away from resistance and moving towards embracing mindset change and embracing the power of using your passion to solve problems. Then I was set to be able to achieve my dreams. Because once you realize what you want to accomplish and you're proactive about it, and you have a good circle, like we mentioned previously, then you can be able to also realize whether it's spiritually, academically, professionally, etc.
At some point, I think I saw you addressing the Canadian Parliament. Am I correct? Or
You are correct. Yes, the Ontario
how did they
Legislative
get to you,
Assembly.
and what were you telling them?
Well, I was actually part of a program called the Model Parliament Simulation Program. So they gathered young people across the province to caucus together and create mock parties and discuss issues. And mine was on transportation policy. So my caucus and I, we developed ways to make it more equitable and to promote driver's licenses being administered in educational spaces as well. And through that, me being able to move my mindset to, oh, I can't manage this with school. Why am I doing this? It enabled me to develop my public speaking skill by saying, oh, I can't talk in front of all these people, to really believing and realizing that I can. I was able to perform at the Ontario Legislative Assembly and do a bunch of interesting things as well.
Daniel, when I listened to you that day before the Canadian Parliament, you sounded like representing a constituency. Are you looking forward to doing politics?
I think what I'm looking forward to is to making an impact, whether it's in any aspect. I'm looking forward to making an impact and changing the lives of individuals across the world and in my community especially. So whatever I do plan to go into, I plan to make an impact for sure, whether it's politics or something else.
And I have to say that, honestly, you will be remembered for that long after you have come and gone. Danielle, we are doing this show in January when people typically draw up resolutions. What, in your view, is significant about resolutions and the month of January every year?
Well, like I said previously, January is a month for us to reset, for new beginnings, and for us to really focus on what we want to achieve within the next 12 months. And with January, we have an interesting phenomenon, like we said before, how people come and do their gym, do their athletic activity for 2 days, and then call it quits. But what we have to realize that although it is a new start and old habits do die hard, this all comes back to the core belief. If you really believe and you are proactive about taking steps forward, then you will be able to really utilize January and utilize your ability that you have within yourself to really thrive. And in 2025, I hope we all thrive.
Did you draw some resolutions for this year?
Well, my resolution, like I said previously, is just having small wins, just becoming the best version of myself in all aspects. And within the specifics of that, not completely drawn out yet, but through using the power of innovative volunteerism and mindset change, I hope to realize what I do want to accomplish.
Why do you think some people by February or March hardly remember what they resolved to do in January or December 31st of the previous year?
That's a really good question. And I think we mentioned it previously. It's the lack of accountability and the lack of the self-drive to move into the fifth dimensional realm and to really manifest yourself and put that work into action. And a lot of people forget, for example, they don't start small. And when you have such a big goal, you need to break it down into smaller pieces, like I mentioned previously. And a lot of people forget because they have so many things going on in their lives, but that's not an excuse, because within that 24 hours in a day, let's say you want to lose weight or become overall more healthier, you can find a slot within that to do a workout video. You can find a slot to eat home cooked food instead of eating out. All these things collectively combine. And I think by having, like you said previously, accountability coaches, supportive friends and family, notebooks, all of these, including the main portion, which is your intrinsic desire to thrive and to see yourself in a higher place, can all help mitigate this issue of forgetting your goals.
I have one more question for you, and the last word, and I bring in your dad, Dr. Richard Munang. Dr. Richard Munang, please get ready for that. Daniel Munang, you have enumerated the strategies for mindset reset, but then how do you maintain that consistency?
Well, it's definitely hard. Every day we're all human, so there are our ups and downs. It is quite difficult, but just focusing on the end goal, like I said previously, it's important for us to dream big, but we need to start small and build up. So just having the end goal of what you want to achieve, for example, my case, having an impact on my community and beyond, these things all add up. So if I, for example, don't want to do XYZ, I have to remember, and by having accountability, like you're gonna bring on my dad, and he'll talk about this as well, having people who can hold you accountable and writing it down, and just having that self belief that I can do hard things, I can go through adversity, and I can develop resilience has really enabled me to keep on pushing even when times do get tough, as they do quite a lot.
Wow. Wow, 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 Danielle, this is amazing. I have to say, you are changing. Because sometimes some people don't do these things because they fear failure, they worry about what other people will think about them. But here you launch into it, you're convinced you can do it. And I have to say that you are making a difference out there. People are listening to you, and sometimes the biggest worry is how to change the language they use towards other people. Probably they're using curse words and things like that. If that became, or that were the resolution, or what somebody resolves to do, um, what's going to be your advice? How do they begin, and how do they maintain that consistency?
Well, I think that using your example or any example is just starting by small steps. Like you can't, let's say we use the example of using profanity. You can't have. It's going to be difficult for you from using profanity to becoming saint-like overnight. Is that going to happen? Very unlikely. So what we have to do is just start breaking it down. You can start by just not using it towards family and friends at all, and then maybe let's say you're watching, start by listening to different music, maybe clean versions of the songs you already like, because our external factors, music, the pop culture, media can influence us. So in that, I'd say just start by breaking them down into smaller achievable steps. So in the case of music, maybe turn towards clean music, and then from there it'll be less around you. Start surrounding yourself with people who don't use as much profanity. So by changing your environment and changing your mindset within, that I can do this and that I will do this and I have done it, then I think that whatever your challenge is, whether it's profanity or whether it's becoming more healthier or becoming more academically inclined or becoming more athletic, all of these things, starting small, like I said previously, can all build up.
Here's what I understand from you. You see, when you take a glass of, say, stained water, say Coca-Cola or any beverage that's stained, or coffee, you go to the sink, you open clear water. As you are pouring it into that stained glass of water, the stained water begins to give way to the clean water that's coming from your faucet. Thank you so much. Now, before you go, Danielle, oh, here's Caroline's song saying, "You are so amazing, my gorgeous granddaughter. I love you, baby." Thank you so much, Caroline, for this. Please encourage your friends to watch this video, because this is a lot of education. Um, Sometimes, again, as I said, mindset reset might not attract a lot of people, but from what Danielle does or says, or she started saying from the beginning, you begin to see how it is foundational to just about every accomplishment, every goal that you set out to accomplish. Danielle, I'm going to ask you to share some of your wisdom with first your peers and those older than you. You can go for as long as you want. You have the blank check right now.
Well, thank you for having me, and I think thank you for everyone watching. It's an honor to speak to you about something that I find so dear to my heart. And to everyone watching today, like Nike, not sponsored, just do it, and just start by realizing your dreams and by seeing yourself in a place where you would like to be, but being proactive and having sustainable goals that you know you can achieve, and dream big but start small. I use the example of a marathon, but this can relate to building a business. This can relate to increasing your marks. This can relate to becoming healthier. This can relate to getting closer to your faith. All of these aspects become a crucial element. And you can do this through accountability and through notebooks. But what it comes down to is within the power of yourself. It comes through the power of moving from the core beliefs of I can't do this. Why me? I'm too poor. I can't. I'm not good enough, to having the belief that I can. Who's going to stop me? I'm too locked in. I have this. Having a mentality that allows you to grow, having a growth mentality rather than having a mentality of I cannot. Make sure to look at the glass half full and make sure to realize that whatever you have in mind, if you have an idea now, don't be like, I'm going to wait till next year. No, start today and realize that your dream is never too large to achieve, but we must start by achieving it realistically and break it down into small steps. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Wow. Daniel, you are dynamite.
Thank you.
Daniel, what do you like to do in life the most?
Like I said previously, no matter what.
I'm asking you this question because it looks like you like to dance.
That's funny, but I do enjoy having hobbies, and I think hobbies are especially important because every day you can't just be monotone. You have to be interdisciplinary. I like to have fun with my dad. I like to read. I like to do so many things. But at the end of the day, no matter what path I choose to go into, the main focus will be to create an impact. And through streaming networks like yours, China Like Africa, I would like to create an impact just like you and thousands of people around the world are doing each and every day.
Wow. Thank you, Daniel.
No problem.
You are watching Voices of Africa, and Dr. Richard Munang will take the seat momentarily. As immediately he takes the seat, makes way, and Daniel makes way to him. I will be in bringing him on the platform to ask him one or two questions. You are watching Voices of Africa. This broadcast is in high definition, high resolution on the internet, on YouTube, on Facebook, everywhere we are present. I'd like to also thank my producer in Lagos, Roger Full, who is my my right-hand man, so to speak, my powerful collaborator, tech geek, so to speak, and through whose efforts I am able to do what I am doing right now. Before we bring in Dr. Richard Munang, let me see if I can bring this video. And while it's beautiful. That video cannot run today. I don't know what's going on. We have some issues to run the video for you. No problem. We'll have it another time. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, you will see the brand manager for Daniel. So please join me now in welcoming Dr. Richard Munang. Dr. Richard Munang, I have to say that you are raising a dynamite. I have to say that. I have not a doubt that Daniel's performance is largely your contribution. There's no question about that. Like the scripture says, teach his child which direction to go, and he or she will not abandon it. Talk to me about how much time do you take to produce such an accomplished 16-year-old girl?
Yeah, thank you very much, Need Divine. Of course, let me start by appreciating you and Daniel for the amazing discussion. And I would say your question could be answered with this African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. And here, the mom of Daniel and myself have played a role. So it's not just me. The mother has played an amazing role in reshaping her, and my role has pretty much been in helping her to understand that she needs to know how to think, not what to think. So focus on making her how to think, not what to think. And I think this is a very big issue that most of the time we want people to think the way we think rather than to learn how to think towards seeing challenges as disguised opportunities. People actually want ease. But if you start to do that and make young people to understand that ease is the biggest threat to progress, that ease can never make anybody progress, then they will start to understand. Now, why I bring this up is that children and young kids, they learn by observing. And so if you say what you do, they start to believe in it. If you say what you don't do, they will not believe in it. And so by observing and also making sure that she sees that, yes, when we talk hard work, one works hard. When we talk about discipline, yes, one is disciplined. Then combined with the aspects of making her to think, and her to think is what brought the difference.
What's the difference between making a child what to think and how to think? Please explain the differences to me.
Yeah, very simple. So what to think is you have to do this. And in doing that, these are the prescriptions and you cannot go out of that. How to think is these are the guidelines, but you are allowed to bring any novelty so that at least you can deliver what you are asked of, but you go beyond it without being afraid. And how to think is that the free space is given, but there are disciplinary measures that will also come if what was originally asked is not accomplished, and then they stray off to do what they like. So the what to think is straitjacketed, but the how to think is having that allowance to bring in novelty, but still within the disciplinary lines. And the disciplinary lines here are, for example, you have to study, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot be able to read out of what you are supposed to study, but you will not attend that party because you have to study. And if you are to attend that party, then you have to accomplish this and show what you brought that was new in it, that was not there. And I think that ability to allow also the space for young kids and young children and even elders to express themselves and bring their perspective, not that it will be accepted, but that it can also be reshaped, then makes them to know that at least they can add or subtract and move forward, not always waiting for you to think for them, but they think for themselves, but knowing that you can reshape how they think.
In this day and age of social media distractions, how have you been able to make sure that your daughter doesn't get distracted? There's TikTok and all the kinds of things that are going on TikTok. You have Instagram, and these young people, they're so tech savvy. So how is it that you've been able to develop guardrails for her so that she doesn't go overboard?
One of the biggest errors, and I call it errors because sometimes we prevent our children not to do what they see us doing. And therefore, asking them or engaging them early on to do what we do, but with guidelines and also with the areas in which they cannot be able to go to, is important. So at the age of 4, we already introduced Danielle to start using an iPad and start understanding how the internet works. And so she started understanding, watching YouTube. And then at the age of 8, she was already understanding how these things work. And then she created an account in Instagram and all that. And all we were making sure was that when you tell a young kid that it is not good, without also giving reasons why it is not good, and also not showing how that young kid can be able to utilize it and not do what you have asked her to do, then the day they get the opportunity to do it, they will do it wrong. And I think this goes back to our upbringing, which was that when elders were talking, even if you were young, you could not be able to bring an idea. And that was good because that was to protect us. It's the same today, but in a different realm of transformation, which in this case is social media, which is young people are utilizing it not for the good reasons mostly, but they can utilize it for the right reasons. And so how we nurture ours, you can use social media to pitch what you are doing at this young age, and that can fit into your CV. You can use social media to communicate your thoughts. And in that way, by the time you are finishing high school and getting to university, you already have a community you are building. That was for good. But these are the do's and these are the aspects that we cannot be able to do, which is knowing that social media is also a space in which you can be hijacked. Your information can be hijacked. You can be lured into things that are not important. So the underlining word is starting early, showing the pros and cons, but also being very strict and disciplining the child if he or she goes against what you've said. As they say, you cannot be able to spare the rod to spoil the child, but in this case, we're not using the hard rod, but the soft one.
Thank you. My final question to you, Dr. Richard Munang, you hold a PhD, and typically, African parents educated like you, they would be more interested in having the child study, become a doctor like me. So how did you get into mindset change, revolution, reconstruction?
I think that's a very important question, Ni. When you look at how the world is today, you tend to ask, what is it that the world lacks that we cannot be able to address the challenges we face? And you look at it, you notice we have abundance. Then when you look at what is it that we don't have, especially in the developing world like Africa, for example, you notice that we lack nearly everything. When I say we lack electricity, over 640 million people are energy impoverished. Food insecurity, 270 million children, mothers, fathers going to bed every day without food, and so on and so forth. Healthcare broken, infrastructure. Then the question you hear in every sphere and every corner of the world, especially from the developing world, which is rightly so, but not always right sometimes, is they have to do it for us. So the question has always been externalized, that they have to do it for us. But when you look at it, you will notice that what we are asking as people to be done for us is actually what we can do. And therefore, it means that if you were to give people fish, which you could have taught them how to fish, then they will always ask you fish because they know that you can give them. But if you make them to understand that at least they are asking for fish, which is actually in their backyard, they can actually learn how to cultivate it and make more money and eat more fish, then that could happen. And that is why the aspect of leveraging mindset change and starting to preach this and push this was actually to fill that gap that we have forgotten ourselves sometimes and think that without someone doing it for us, then definitely we can never progress. But in reality, what we actually seek is in us. The ability to understand that lack thereof is not poverty, but that poverty is actually a mindset issue because nobody was born with anything. And therefore, if you don't have today, you can also have. And you can, if you have today, you can also lose it tomorrow. And so we can rise and fall and rise again, but all the ingredients are in us.
Night Africa. Keep watching Chat Night Africa.
Dr. Richard Munang.
Thank you.
I have to tell you this. This is what I admire the most about you. I don't know if I've ever told you this before. If not, I'm going to tell you that now and to the hearing of everyone. You are somebody who sees opportunities as challenges. Dr. Munang, come on. How can you see challenges as opportunities? I mean, challenges as opportunities. You're somebody who sees challenges as opportunities. How is it that you keep seeing challenges as opportunities?
Thanks, Lee, and I appreciate your.
That's my last question.
Yeah, thanks for the question and also for the acknowledgement. So the reality is that if you look historically and even from how countries have developed, they never developed from what they had. They developed from focusing on what they lacked. So if you don't have, that should be a motivation for you to look how you can then be able to get what you don't have. And so a challenge is actually not the opposite of lack. A challenge is an opportunity in disguise, because by solving it, you will tap something that was never there before. Let's just take for a very, very practical example, food insecurity. If we take a crop that is abundant in every home, especially in rural Africa, if you take cassava, we grew up eating it. But actually, cassava can produce over 300 products. That is an opportunity in a crop that the cost of processing it to produce cassava flour, to produce cassava beer, to produce cassava cakes, everything, even the leaves of cassava are nutritious. We can then be able to not only have food to eat, but tap into a market that is 20 billion. But the problem is that challenges have been discussed more than solutions. And anytime solutions come up, they're actually put at the back burner. And therefore, if we are able to tell people that the challenges you have today, you are not supposed to drain under them, but you are supposed to see them as disguised opportunity and avail yourself, because everybody's biggest ability is his or her availability. We don't avail ourselves most of the time for right reasons. We avail ourselves into party. That's okay. I am not saying that parties are not good. But if you organize a conference here today and you ask a question to a fool, that if you give free gifts or freebies, you have 1 million viewers. But if it is about free knowledge, we will not have even up to 10 or 20. That's okay. We don't force people to do that, right? But the point, therefore, is that knowledge you are giving to address challenges is not seen as if it's needed. But if it was to gather and complain, everybody will be there. Why? And let me end with this. Because the mind, people generally do not like hard things. Soft life is what generally humanity usually embrace, because the brain is such that what is hard is not absorbed easily. And the brain loves comfort. So effort is never liked. Ease is liked. And so challenges then grab the opportunities. And because the mind is intentionally made not to like discomfort, we then don't see the opportunities in that discomfort. But anybody who has ever succeeded beyond me will tell you that he or she went through adversity, and that adversity actually is what births resilience. And anybody who has never gone through adversity will collapse when it happens. And those who have gone through it have lessons and experience that they can teach others.
Wow. I think we have to come back on the show. But let me ask you this. You are a very, very accomplished professional. Did you go through challenges yourself?
Yes, of course. I put this in my book, my first book, Making Africa Work Through the Power of Innovative Volunteerism, which is, of course, rural Africa. Transformation of every young person is same, right? How we grew up, we're going to school without shoes. That's not the problem. How we were even driven out of school because we could not be paid fees. That's not the problem. But what we went through compared to Gen Zs of today, they are never going to witness that. But the fact that one grew up going to bed with his or her stomach aching of hunger, going to school without shoes, not having even money for school fees, started to make one to imagine, how can I become better? But that is not the biggest point here that I want to make. I want to make the point that abundance sometimes obstruct people to see the bigger picture. And this is where the bigger picture is really what I wanted to end with. Bigger pictures are never seen through ease. They're seen through discomfort. And I can tell you, a passionate person who is hungry for knowledge, who is yearning, hungry for impact, must tell you anywhere that he or she was not focusing on the what. He or she was focusing on the why. And the why is, how do I become useful? And your usefulness is what you do to touch the lives of others beyond yourself and the immediate family. And so by growing up, I understood that a lot of people have the same challenges that I had. And so that inspired me. And that is why today you will notice that I'm engaging a lot of young people, because I actually believe that without reshaping their minds to understand that the challenges they go through are not only what they are going through, others went through it, that they can become better, they're preparing them for a better future, then we cannot make impact going forward. And just lastly, to say this, one of the aspects that I think we may discuss this again
Sure.
that aspect of always crying, I am poor, I am poor, I am poor. Poverty is not anything that can be wiped off in a day. Poverty actually should be able to inspire us to put effort to see what we can add to ourselves, because it's only by adding to ourselves, in this case, our skills and talents, retooling our skills, that we can get what we don't have. And what makes somebody more valuable is not how you talk or where you come from, is what you can offer. And so if each and every one of us can be able, anytime we see a problem and say, well, this is the problem, but this what I am doing to address it, you will notice that in Africa, over 1.4 billion people will have more solutions than complaining. And so if each and everyone can think that about that this way, then it can help.
Thank you. We love Chat Night Africa. Keep watching Chat Night Africa.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Ngong. You say very engaging and captivating. We will have this show on the internet, on our website. We have a lot of people watching there for a long time. It's on YouTube, high definition. It's on Facebook, everywhere. And we'll be bringing back Dr. Richard Munang. As you see, he is a repository of ideas that can build your muscle to the point that you begin to feel like Francis Ngannou. Thank you so much, Dr. Richard Munang. Thank you to that amazing, amazing young lady, Daniela Fumba Munang. Thank you so much, sir. Happy New Year. And extend my greetings to your beautiful, beautiful wife.
Thank you very much, Nii, for having us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's where we draw the curtain on today's broadcast. My name is Divine Chamukong. We have lined up amazing, powerful contents for you in the coming weeks. So when you hear we're coming on, we may not be coming to give you free calling cards and free, what do you call it now, back in Africa, data. We may not be coming to share that, but we're coming to give you ideas which can empower you to be so independent. You don't need to go on Facebook, on YouTube, or other social media handles to look for freebies, to wait for people to announce free things for you. You are better off. You are better than that. You are a great human being. You have initiatives. You only need to reset your mindset. That's where we end this broadcast. Meanwhile, you can see it. It's on YouTube in high definition. It's on www.chatnightafrica.net. You will find it in amazing, amazing quality there. It's also on Facebook. Whenever we come. And when you hear this, it's time for us to say, merci à tout le monde. Bye-bye.
I'm coming back. I'm coming to get down. I'm coming to dance, We're gonna dance, we're gonna get down, we're gonna party hardy. We're gonna boogie woogie. And when we jam, it's out of sight. This song right here, it's dynamite. I'm ready, I'm coming back, I'm coming.